Okay, welcome everybody. It is August 9th, 2023, and it's again Wednesday with Dr. Wallach. We welcome you all to come here and meet with us every Wednesday night at 7 or 8:30 Eastern Time. And we have 30 minutes that we meet with Dr. Joel Wallach. And legally, we must say that this meeting is for educational and entertainment purposes only. And what you hear tonight is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure. And that being said, it takes great discipline and changes in your mindset and your habits to have the protocols work. So we are here to seek true science-based clinical advice on the use of nutrition to feel better. And if you have a desire to make a 90-day change to your lifestyle, you've come to the right place, because most of these protocols that you hear here tonight with good discipline, they will help you feel better. So Dr. Wallach's research and the development team has created an army while raising his children from home, on a boathouse, at a zoo, and on the road. And to be respectful, we do ask you all to mute your phones until the last maybe 20 minutes here. We're going to have some information given to us, and then we will ask questions at the end. So please have your notepads and pens ready. And Dr. Wallach?
Yes, ma'am.
The show is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Well, today I want to talk about the metabolic syndrome. The metabolic syndrome. 25% of Americans have the metabolic syndrome. 25%. That was kind of shocking to me. I thought it might be 5%, something like that. 25% of Americans have the metabolic syndrome. This consists of obesity, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and liver problems, all kinds of stuff like that, right? And it's one of those things where your mouth drops when you start thinking about this. Okay. And let's see here. Our diabetes part of the metabolic syndrome. Let's see here. We spend in America, just to treat the symptoms, this is medical treatment, not to prevent or cure it, $342 billion a year. The obesity piece, again, not to prevent it or cure it, but to just get it under control. Obesity, we spend $260 billion a year. We spend $40,873 every year to treat people with metabolic syndrome. Each year, almost $41,000 a year to treat metabolic syndrome. Then the high blood pressure, we spend $131 billion a year. Okay. And then, of course, people have arthritis and they have all this other stuff going, heart disease, $316.8 billion. Okay. So this is a very, very expensive thing. That's why your health insurance prices are high, because of the metabolic syndrome. So two things we need to do. Number one, get rid of all the bad stuff so you can maximize absorption, minimize inflammation. Absolutely no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, rye, and oats, no buckwheat. There's no gluten in buckwheat, but they do have Fago, F-A-G-O, pyrines, which are 10 times worse than gluten. So no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet drinks got to go. And also carbonated water, because they neutralize stomach acid, so you cannot absorb minerals and digest food. Very important issues here, okay? Then let's see here. For the diabetes, we do have let me stay with the obesity first. We do have the keto shake. It's a meal replacer. It's not to add to a meal, it's a meal replacer. Start out with one meal a day. It doesn't have to be the same meal every day. Again, it's a meal replacer. And we have the chocolate and strawberry flavors. And you will lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day by doing that. Okay, it's designed to give your body what it needs. And so you don't have pica, P-I-C-A, which is a behavior which drives you to eat and eat and eat because you're hungry, because you're missing stuff. Mineral deficiencies cause pica, and horses is called cribbing, where they eat the fence and eat the gates and all that kind of stuff because they're looking for minerals, okay? Then, let's see here, the obesity, $260 billion a year, okay? That's the keto shake, okay? You get rid of the bad stuff, taking all the 90 essential nutrients. That's 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day, 2 bottles a month of the MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time, and they're going to support the immune system and support Again, give you the minerals that are necessary so you don't have pica, so you're not going to eat and eat and eat and eat. Okay, very, very important. And you'll lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day on this program. Then let's see here. The high blood pressure, we have a program, it's called the Ultimate Daily Classic Tablets. Get 2 bottles a month of those. So you can actually take 3 of those twice a day. And again, don't cold turkey off your medication for high blood pressure, but as the blood pressure drops, you can slowly reduce the medication. Same way with the diabetes. Don't cold turkey off your diabetic medication, but as your blood sugar begins to drop, you can slowly reduce the medication based on the numbers, okay? And we've been doing this, it seems like forever, and it works, never fails. I'll repeat that, it works, it never fails. And so that's why I came up with these various programs for these 4 or 5 different diseases that are clumped together called the metabolic syndrome. I, was spending time with people and I'm saying, isn't this the 3rd lunch I've seen you eat? Yeah, I'm just, none of what I'm eating is not satisfying. And so then I had to think about it. Why are these people getting obese? Why are they eating 10, 12, 15 meals a day instead of 3 meals a day? Well, that's because they have a behavior called pica, which is due to nutritional deficiency, primarily mineral deficiencies. Nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. We lost our nutritional minerals when we went to electricity. For 3,000 years, before Thomas Edison pulled the switch and started electricity in New York City, we were using wood and coal as fuel. We're putting the wood ashes and coal ashes in our food in our gardens. And wood ashes and coal ashes were 95% minerals and 2 or 3% carbon. Well, when we went to electricity, suddenly now, and don't get me wrong, electricity has its place. It does a good thing, in factories and hospitals and all kinds of stuff. But also, when you have electricity, you don't have any wood ashes or coal ashes anymore to give you the minerals. And so doctors would say, oh, don't waste your money on vitamins and minerals. You just eat well, you get everything you need. Well, that's absolutely 100% wrong. You cannot get everything you need just by eating well. Plants do not manufacture minerals. Okay. Nutritional minerals occur in veins like gold and silver. And so the only way you're going to be able to get your minerals is to live by the land flowing with milk and honey. Now, we're not talking about cow's milk or goat's milk or sheep's milk or milk from camels or llamas. We're talking about glacial milk. Chapter 10 of the book, Rare Earths and Cures, the whole chapter deals with glacial milk. When you look at the people who live the longest, people like Adam, who lived to be 930. You look at Noah, who lived to be 950. And let's see here, we have, the guy who lived to be 969. Okay.
Methuselah. Methuselah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Methuselah. Yeah, Methuselah. Methuselah lived to be 969. And of course, these people were getting the minerals coming down in the glacial milk from the mountains, and they were drinking it, they were cooking with it, they were making their wine with it, they were putting it in their gardens and watering their gardens and so forth. And that's how they're getting their minerals. Well, when we went to electricity, suddenly now our source of minerals, nutritional minerals we'd had for hundreds and hundreds, no, thousands and thousands of years. And guess what? It all fell apart when we went to electricity. And the worst possible thing was the doctor said, oh, don't waste your money on taking vitamins and minerals, just eat well and get everything you need. Well, they were living in the past. They missed it by 1,000,000 miles. You cannot get everything you need because plants do not manufacture minerals. Now, plants do take carbon dioxide out of the air, and they manufacture, let's see here, they'll manufacture vitamins, amino acids, fatty acids, all of which are carbon compounds. But the minerals are a different story, okay? And again, nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. And you look at the Himalayan mountains, where the Huns come from, their life expectancy is 120. They don't have any medical doctors. Many live to be 130, 140, 150. We have the best medical doctors in the world. Just ask them. They will beat their chests and stand up on the chair and yodel and tell you we have the best medical doctors in the world. Yet our life expectancy in America is only 75. Okay. And very few people make it to their middle to upper 90s. Very few people make it to 100. Just last year, in November of last year, the oldest woman in America died at 115. Okay, her last name was Hendricks. It was like Debbie Hendricks or something like that. Her first name began with a D, but Hendricks was her last name. Died in November of last year at 115. Okay, she was the longest living American woman. I want to know what she was eating. I want to know where she lived in Iowa, which is kind of interesting. So, did she live in bottomland where it would flood every year? And when the flood waters would recede, they'd plow all the silt from the floods into the gardens. So was she living in bottomland? Why was she living so long? She was getting some minerals from someplace. Okay. And it's one of those things where this is not difficult. It's very, very straightforward. It's reproducible. Okay. But and we've proven this, you know, in laboratory animals and farm animals and so forth. You give them what they need, they live a lot longer and eliminate birth defects and all kinds of diseases that are said to be genetic and autoimmune and all kind of stuff. And so we can do the same thing for ourselves. This is not difficult. Okay, not difficult. So don't forget metabolic syndrome is costing you and I, let's see here, it's $40,873 per person. Okay, for people who have the metabolic syndrome. And it's really, really, really crazy. 25% of Americans, we have 300 million people. So 25% of that was at 60 million people have metabolic syndrome. Wow. Okay. So with all that said, over to you, Pam and Dave.
Yeah, Doc, that's some incredible information there. I wondered if you heard that we've lost about 2,000 dams in America in the last couple of years. Have you heard that?
We lost those dams?
Yeah, they've collapsed. I know we had a major dam here in Michigan last year go down, and both governors, the current Democrat and the last Republican, are culpable for that collapse.
Okay.
You know,
are they going to rebuild the dams or just going to go without them?
We have not heard, you know, what's going to happen, but I did hear it recently that it's up to about 2,000 now in America we've lost, and maybe it's in the last 5 years.
Okay. Well, here you have to appreciate, Dave, that dams contributed to the metabolic syndrome. Because,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so they, when they made electricity with hydroelectric with the dams, that was a big, big problem because many of the bottomlands went away, okay, when they did that. And the downstream was not getting the minerals anymore. And so that contributed to this high rate of all these diseases. And so I'm going to check this out and find out where they have this dam collapse. Let's find out if people are starting to live longer there because, you know, are the floodwaters coming back or what's going on there? Okay.
All right.
We'll check it out.
So we mentioned last week we had a gal on from the Houston area, and she's a veteran, 66 years old, and she's been suffering from some vascular issues. And, you know, you told her what they want to do with that plastic vein down through her shoulder and to go down to her foot, you know, for poor circulation in her foot. Didn't sound too good. Well, she had already had all that scheduled and everybody was, you know, planned out and blah, blah, blah. And so it's been planned for a year, and she, you know, she didn't wait for a second opinion, and, you know, they had her pretty well scared, and they went ahead with that surgery. And she needed 9 pints of blood during the surgery, 2 pints of plasma. She had cardiac arrest. They had to do heart massage or something, and she was out for 3 days, and she just woke up yesterday, and we did hear from her. She's very tired, but she's excited about her recovery. So, you know, all we can do now is help support her. What's your best recommendation for someone in a VA hospital that's gone through this horrific surgery You think it's plant-derived minerals is probably the only thing we can use, right, at this
Well,
point?
that's a place to start, plant-derived minerals. That's going to help her bone marrow make more red blood cells and platelets and white blood cells and antibodies, that kind of stuff. And so that's going to support her immune system and, help her get more blood cells and so forth. And then, do we know how much she weighs?
She's over 200 pounds.
Okay. Then ideally, she would have 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, the full dose of everything twice a day. Ideally, she would have 2 bottles of our MSM. She can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. They're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between vertebrae, bone makes bone itself, and blood vessel walls. Okay, including those in the brain, the heart, the kidneys, the legs, all over the place. Okay, and then we also want her to have a rebound, our sports drink. She's going to need some energy here. Our sports drink has 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, amino acids in it. And so I'd like her to use the sticks or the cans with the powder. The can liquids have carbonation in them. So you have to pop the tops on the night before you're going to drink them, put them in the refrigerator, let them off gas so they're flat in the morning. And so that's why I like to use the sticks. I can throw a couple of those in my pocket when I leave the house and just add them to a bottle of water when I'm away from the house. I'm getting 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, amino acids every time I drink one of those rebounds. Okay, so that will help her recover also.
Okay, Doc, that sounds great. Thank you. Pam, back to you.
Okay, well, I do love that MSM, and it's got the vitamin C with that. And, that really does help. People don't all the time realize that it's all the things that you put into, like say the brain and heart pack, it has a selenium. And today we have the double QV on that, which is amazing how you put those things in that for a reason. Can you explain why you have put different things with the selenium?
Yeah, okay. Well, we put 5 cofactors in there because the biochemical reactions at the cellular level require not only selenium, but these 5 cofactors. And to make the selenium work and get maximum benefit from it, you need those cofactors. So I think we're the only company that adds the 5 cofactors that the selenium needs to work. Okay. And this is good for the walls of blood vessels, so you don't get aneurysms and blood clots and all that kind of stuff. And so we kind of went that direction. And of course, the advantage I have, I've done over 32,000 autopsies. My thesis on 20,000 autopsies is in the Smithsonian Institute of National Treasure. I showed clearly there were no genetically transmitted diseases. There's no autoimmune diseases. Other than trauma and stuff like that, we're talking about chronic disease like diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, heart disease, liver disease, irritable bowel syndrome, asthma. Let's see here, things like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. These are all nutritional deficiency diseases, which means that if we're proactive enough, we can rebuild everything, the biochemical systems, as well as the tissues and organs and systems, so these diseases go away. And we've proven this over the past 75 years, and I have a book out. It's called The Wallach Revolution. It covers 75 years of some of the major things we've done. And now we have a 72-page flip chart coming out here within a couple of weeks. It goes into some of these, and it has pictures of me with some of the famous people that we've actually had success with them having these diseases. Like Pat Boone, we rebuilt all his knees and hips and everything, so he didn't have to have replacement surgeries and amputations. And so he did the foreword to the book, The Wallach Revolution. And then we have Danny Glover, who was born with seizures and epilepsy. He couldn't stand on the stage longer than a couple of minutes because he'd have a seizure. So he got rid of that. And so now he can spend a couple hours on the stage doing what he does. And so he did the last chapter of the book, The Wallach Revolution. Well, this flip chart goes into some of the most famous people we've dealt with. I have pictures of me with them, okay? And this can be available in a couple of weeks. Right now, we're getting the final bids on the publication of them. And so it's gonna be somewhere around $30 per flip chart, give or take. Comes with a little stand, and it has a spiral binding on it, so you just flip the page and it won't fly off the table or something like that. And basically, we're covering these major diseases. And so even if you only have a 6th grade education, you'll be able to give a presentation that's the equivalent of a PhD and a medical doctor giving that presentation. Just read the paragraphs on the page along with the pictures. And if you have the equipment, if you do this at a desk in your office or something, or a meeting room, it'll be big enough to where you're going to be able to show it to, say, 5 to 10 people. But if you have the equipment to put this on a podium and then put the equipment so you show it as a thing on the screen in a stadium, okay, you can show it to 20,000 people. I was actually on a Zoom today with over 1 million people on it. And so we're getting the message out there, and we're just looking for the Army to grow and get bigger and better. We're making better tools and more tools. And so watch out, because we're going to be making that announcement in a couple of days. And it's called, let's see here, the actual name is 90 for Life Crusade to Save Humanity and the World. Okay, and just really, very proud of that. And so let's see here, any questions?
I have a question. Pam and Dave, may I ask? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Recently, I learned from a video I was watching by an MD on the internet who specializes for celiac people that there are hundreds of different types of glutens, that all grains have different types of glutens. And for people that are very celiac, they're very sensitive to it, they should avoid all grains because all grains have different types of glutens. So are you familiar with this, and what do you say about that? And
I'm very familiar
address it for I'm sorry, what?
I'm very familiar with it, and we only have a moment here, so let me answer the question. Okay, celiac disease, irritable bowel syndrome, those kinds of things are due to gluten damaging your intestinal lining. Your intestinal lining should look like a shag rug with all your villi sticking out there, and increases the surface area. Well, when you eat gluten, all those villi go away, and suddenly now, instead of looking like a shag rug, the lining of your intestine looks like a plastic tube. You've lost 98% of your intestinal lining, and you cannot absorb efficiently. All the bugs get the food and supplements in the septic tank, okay? Because you've been eating gluten. And some people say, well, I gave up gluten and I'm eating buckwheat. Well, buckwheat doesn't have gluten in it, but it has phagopyrines, F-A-G-O-pyrines, which are 10 times worse than gluten. Okay, so you have to stay away from both those. And then you also have to stay away from, let's see here, fried foods, processed meats, oils, glutens, buckwheat, sugar, carbonated drinks. Even the diet drinks got to go, and carbonated water got to go, because they neutralize stomach acid, so you cannot absorb minerals or digest food. The good Lord gave us a stomach to make stomach acid so we could digest food down into little bitty things we can absorb through ourselves, and also to be able to absorb minerals. Okay, we need the stomach acid. Stomach acid is essential to health and to life. Don't be taking things that neutralize your stomach acid. Don't do that. Okay. And then we have programs for over 600 different diseases. We have 5,000 products. You pay wholesale for these products, so you get an auto ship. I will pay the shipping, so you save on the shipping. Okay. And it's one of those things where you cannot go wrong by taking the 90 essential nutrients. Okay, we have various versions of it. The first one was for Theo Ratliff, great basketball player. We just took our Healthy Start Pack, which had our 90 essential nutrients in it, and added our, let's see here, glucogel, which is our first collagen product. So the two together, the glucogel and the Healthy Start Pack, we called it the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. And we rebuilt Theo Ratliff, and he came back from having bone-to-bone arthritis in his knees, his hips, fractured his shooting arm wrist. And he played for 11 years, made $100 million. And I have to give him a hug and a thanks, because he took more than half that money he earned, and he started the Theo Ratliff Activity Center. Okay. And I believe it's, well, okay. It's in the Southeast somewhere, okay, in the Activity Center. And it's one of those things where he lets people go there for free and learn how to take care of themselves. Okay, and he gets them signed up, and they pay wholesale prices for the products. Okay, and pay the shipping if they get an auto ship. And so it's one of those things where, oh, Demopolis, Alabama, that's where it's at. Demopolis, that's why I couldn't remember it. Demopolis, Alabama is where the Theo Ratliff Activity Center is. You think about that. He could have taken
Does
that
he live there, Doc?
and run.
Does he live in Alabama?
Yeah, that's his permanent address.
Okay, very good.
And so he goes there, he lectures, he gives a lot of lectures in that facility because there's hundreds of people come there every day because it's free. And so he's doing a lot of
That's
teaching.
awesome.
Yeah, we can't thank him enough. He's really contributing. And of course,
Does he do the basketball camps there for kids too?
Yes, absolutely. And in
That's
this,
what I thought.
and Dave, in this flip chart, when I talk about his story, there's a picture of he and I standing together, and we purposely made it so people could see our feet. We're both standing on the same kind of sidewalk surface in front of an event center, and he's taller than a foot and a half than I am.
Yeah, I remember that picture when I had better eyesight. I love that picture. That is a fantastic shot of you guys. Doc, I've got another question. One of my friends, he's 65 and he's not taking very good care of himself, and he won't get a second opinion, but he's got this aneurysm, close to his leg and his belly. And he got run over by a gator, one of those four-wheeler or six-wheeler things, underwater. He's kind of a drunk, and he was helping some guy back up to a boat, and he was in the water, and the guy knocked him over, and he ran right over. The back tires were on his chest, and the guy looked behind him like, oh my God, where'd Steve go? And he got out and he seen his arm, waving underwater. And he finally he didn't try to drive it off him. He picked it up, and then Steve pulled himself out from under it. And it's Bullseye's brother, by the way. And you saved Bullseye's life too. But he's going to have this aneurysm got worse by about 2 centimeters, and now they're telling him he's got to have this surgery, or he's going to die. And they want to put a stent. They claim they're going to clean it out and put a stent in there, and that's going to take care of this aneurysm. What do you think about that?
Well, it's not going to take care of the aneurysm because aneurysms are a biochemical breakdown of the arteries. They're not getting all the nutrition they need to maintain themselves. And so you get a breakdown of the elastic fibers, and so it doesn't hold the artery together. So just the natural pressure inside the arteries causes balloon called an aneurysm. Okay. And so how much does this guy weigh?
He's probably about 160 pounds, and he's close to 6 foot tall.
Okay. Well, he needs to get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, rye, oats, no sugar, no carbonated drinks, no carbonated water, no carbonated soft drinks. And then I want him to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day, 2 of the bottles of MSM, so you take 3 times a day for cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue, including the walls of the arteries. Okay. And then he also needs the collagen peptides, again, for the walls of the arteries. I want him to get 2 of those little canisters of the collagen peptides so he can take a scoop of that as morning drinks or as evening drink. I also want him to have our Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, get 3 bottles a month of those. So he can take 3 with breakfast, 3 with lunch, 3 with dinner time. They're going to support and promote maintenance repair of the cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, including the connective tissue in the arteries. And the 2 servings of the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, they're going to have enough of the cofactors in the selenium that's in the 2 Healthy Brain and Heart Packs to help rebuild those arteries, okay? Because this isn't just happening in a small place in the artery before it goes down into his legs. This is happening in every artery in his body, and you can do surgery on one
Aneurysm.
One aneurysm, okay? One aneurysm. And then 3 others will pop up in other areas. You got to deal with the whole mess So you're giving the body what it needs to maintain and repair itself. So these aneurysms don't keep reappearing. If they rupture, you bleed to death.
Yeah, we've been trying to tell him that for a couple of years, and he's a tough nut to crack there, Doc. So hopefully
tough-
he survives this.
Yeah, well, tough
the
nuts die
surgery.
young.
Oh, I know it, and he's almost accepted that's what's going to happen to him. So, but I just wanted your take on it. I do appreciate your knowledge and your candor. Most docs won't tell the truth because they really don't know it. Especially
That's
they
true.
don't know it as well as you do.
Yeah, they don't know.
Is there any hands up here, Pam? Do we got any hands up?
No, it's 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
Well, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, everybody. God bless you, and see you next week. But let's everybody do what they're supposed to do. Stay away from the bad stuff and do the good stuff so we can add 25 to 50 healthy years of your life. Amen. God bless.
Ooh,
God
Hooah.
Have a good night and a better